asking, can we, should we? I have no doubt about it. Actually, there's no option. We're long overdue, and we should have done it a long time ago. There are two opportunities in front of us. One is the post-pandemic recovery, revival, and rejuvenation, and a new era. The other one is the NEP, which is throwing their options at us. Now, if we don't embrace it now, we'll have missed the bus forever. There's too much of focus on university, honestly. So apologies to all the people who are in higher education here. Even greater apologies to the people who hire people, because they don't give adequate feedback and there's no drop down to what we should be doing in schools. So the schools are fishing and assuming a lot of things. And yes, as some of you said, very often there's very little correlation between what you learn in school and what you end up doing in life. And that is the big mismatch. But the big mismatch is not anyone's fault. The gaps in communication, as you all have emphasized. People have not spelled out what it really takes. I'm glad that you said that there are certain organizations like TCS and Infosys now who don't look at the mark sheets anymore. I stopped looking at mark sheets in my recruitment policy as a head of school about 25 years ago. Because what does a piece of paper mean? It doesn't mean anything. Now you get 5 candidates in a subject. They all come with 99%. How am I going to differentiate one from the other? I'm going to look at them in the eye. I'm going to look at the face. I'm going to look at the communication, the persona, and I'll have to take a decision on that. The mark sheet is not going to help me decide whom I want and whom I don't want. So yes, we are coming to skills and aptitudes. So should we be focusing on skills and aptitudes? Absolutely. That is a lifeline. That's a bread and butter in life. And why will we ignore it? You know, in the last 20 years, or say the 30 years, we have moved from pedagogy. People still use pedagogy as a strong term for education. It's outdated. Peda comes from children, you know, and it was how children were taught. But the pandemic has shown us the children will learn. Whether you teach them or not, they will go get on with it themselves. All right. A 3-year-old will tell you how I can pick up things on my own, whether you know how to teach me or not. So it's the adults who are feeling left out, where the children are getting on in life. We move to andragogy, which happens more in universities. How adults learn and how man, you know, what are the skills for developing man? That is also now gradually getting outdated. And we've come into a new terminology called heutagogy. Heutagogy is trying to determine what to learn and how to learn it. Emphasis on learning is also on content. Why do we have to keep regurgitating things which has no correlation? Make them into a condensed 1-month program. All right. And for every 1 month of content learning, give 2 months of skills and aptitudes testing and development and assess them on that and see how will they coming out on tops. Why don't we do that? Because easier to assess content. It's more difficult to judge skills and aptitudes because we are not experienced and we don't have technology or any means to judge them accordingly. That's why we rely on content, which is easier. Tick, yes, cross, no, yes, 99%, done, well done, you're a genius. We keep forgetting that 66% of humanity is arts and humanities inclined. All right. And we do very little about that. Even in today's conversation, a lot of the talk has been about IIT and this and that and whatever and engineering and so on. But 66% of people are human beings who are below average and I'm not saying the arts and humanities are below average, but I'm saying their skills and aptitude are toward arts and humanities. And we do very little in school to promote that. So basically skills is something that you develop. Accomplishment, adeptness, proficiency. These are things we learn to develop over life. Aptitudes are things which have a natural inborn ability in us. We need to just sharpen it and make it smarter. So where skills are being developed, aptitude has to be recognized. And so there is an art in projecting your aptitude, but it doesn't come naturally to everyone. You need to show that in schools, children are taught how to project their aptitude better. So they are recognized. Just like Venkatesh was saying, you know, in a short moment, you have to judge a person and select a person. is the aptitude that you're looking at. You're not looking at the skill, or you're not looking at the mark sheets and things like that at all. We have to go beyond academics, Sri Kumar. We have to. Okay, just think of it. Of the 4 lines of communication, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, most of our assessment is reading and writing. There's hardly any on listening and speaking. And yet, in their work life, most people struggle because their listening and their speaking skills are appalling. You have brilliant scientists who cannot speak straight. You have great doctors who cannot spend half a minute with a patient. We are talking about, Dr. Neeraj talking about NIMS. Unless you can listen and speak and allow them to speak and let them express themselves, how are you going to understand them? But where in our school assessment is that happening, you tell me? Where are we laying emphasis on that? Everything is in writing. Everything is read and write, read and write. Okay. Now comes the whole question that with computer autocorrecting most of our writing skills and whatever, what are you judging? The application? You ask them to write 3 paragraphs, they put it on the computer, it autocorrects. It even tells them what phrases to write and what not to write, and gives them who's quoted what and whatever thing. In half an hour, they'll produce a masterpiece. Where is the natural ability? What is coming from within you? Who are you? What is there really inside you? That is what we need to develop, and things. See, by 2030, they say 75% of the jobs will have become redundant or they will have changed. We've already seen it. Some of you are probably working from home. Here we are, sitting all over the country, talking to each other. Who thought even 4 years ago, 3 years ago, we would be doing this? We would have to travel somewhere, meet in a hall, in a conference room, something, and talk to each other and address something, and it would be recorded and published. Here we are, connecting, able to do multitask. What we were doing before 6 o'clock is one thing. What we'll do after 8 o'clock is another. So the prime time is only the 2 hours we need right now. The rest is going towards other skills and aptitudes and other demands in our lives. Now we look at QET, this common in university entrance tests. I honestly still don't know what are we trying to achieve. Maybe it's a good thing, but what are we trying to do? If QET is the important source of entry, then what happened to the school results? What happened to the school achievements? All right. So what is QET going to do about a person who got you the World Cup in cricket and then has to sit for a QET? How is that kid going to make it to university, despite getting the World Cup for India as an under 18? Or someone at the age of 16 is becoming a world champion. There you have the chess champion who's taking part in Chennai right now. What recognition are we going to give to that through QET? So unless there are checks and measures, then only a small percentage of your achievement in QET complements everything else that you've done in life. Okay, we are going back to 99% and 100%. We are creating more stress for the kids. We are not doing them any favor. And they will go in from climbing ladders for creating their own ladders. The future is about the individual. The future is about your own personality. It's about the relevance. It's about what you connect with in life, what you really have a feel for. Create everything like that in school, in university, in life. There are so many organizations who during the lunch break encourage you to do something else. All right, in that 1 hour. I worked in Canada, and during the 1 hour lunch break, people used to go out skiing. They used to go out skating in the snow, and they would come back at 2 o'clock. Boss never asked you, where were you? What were you doing? You're wasting your time. Your time, productivity. Personal time, break the stress. Okay. Finally, artificial intelligence is going to take over a lot of things. 70% of the jobs are going to be taken over by artificial intelligence. So if that's emerging strongly, we need to identify new skills and aptitudes. Otherwise, people are going to be frustrated because the computer is going to outthink them and outperform in every aspect of life. Where will they fit in? Okay, so to conclude, what were my skills in school? By the way, I was head of a school for 25, 29 years of my 43-year career. Okay, I was heading schools and all. But what were my skills in school? Sports, hiking, love with nature. Did any of them make me head of a school? Not at all. What were my loves? Literature, leadership. Yes, I always loved leadership. As you said, heading a sports team, championing this cause, championing that and whatever. Leadership was always good. Being a school prefect, all these things matter. Yes, it helped. I was zero in theater. I couldn't even go and speak on a mic or come onto the stage. And yet, when I started working, I produced any number of plays. Where did that come from? From an inborn aptitude I had, which I developed into a skill. All right. But no school helped me. I wish it had. And things. So here's my parting question to all of you. Did the pandemic test our academic achievements or our skills and aptitudes? What made us survive and not become emotional wrecks? Ask yourself that question. What helped us go through? Who are the greatest achievers who did things for mankind? They were not taught that about community service and all in school. It came from somewhere within themselves, the feel. And if, I'm going back to that if, 66% of humanity leans towards arts and humanities, what should we focus on more? Marks or developing their varied skills or aptitudes? Television has got you, India can dance, India can sing, India can do this, India can do that. Look at these kids. They're 6 and 8 and 10-year-olds. And the way they perform, the confidence in front of the camera. Did you and I get an opportunity? Did we have it in us? Is it only a generational thing? Or were we deprived? Are schools giving them these opportunities? Yes, to some extent. To some extent they are. But most of it is acquired. I give credit to the parents who are allowing their children to do these things. Whereas for us, it was a no, no. You did that, you were wasting your time, you wouldn't get a job. Folks, there is no more climbing the ladder other than in some job like armed forces, government, blah, 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 blah. Most people are ready to build their own ladder and they're very happy to climb their own ladder. And when they fall, they fall. So whom would I hire if I had to hire today? I wouldn't hire Virat Kohli for all the success of the last 15 years. I would hire Virat Kohli of the failures of the last 2 years. He's been on a high. He's learned to how fall into a low, and he will learn how to rise above that. But most importantly, he will be a great person because he'll empathize and sympathize with others. That is a skill that has to be developed. And that is what I feel school should be doing more and more. We shouldn't be shy of failure. Failure is one of the stepping stones of success.